When a billionaire fired a quiet black woman in front of the entire office, everyone thought it was over for her. But seconds later, he realized he'd just made the most expensive mistake of his life. It was late afternoon in Manhattan, the hour when the city's golden light turned glass towers into shimmering cathedrals of ambition. Inside the 38th floor of Denmore Industries, everything gleamed. Polished marble floors, silver elevator doors, and the constant hum of keyboards echoing beneath the soft hiss of the air conditioning. The air was calm, yet tense, like a violin string pulled too tight. Employees kept their heads down, eyes fixed on their screens, whispering only when the tall shadow of Charles Denmore passed by. The billionaire CEO moved with the heavy confidence of someone used to being feared. His watch caught the light with every gesture, glinting like a quiet reminder of power. And there, in the middle of it all, sat Grace Williams. Her hands moved gracefully over the keyboard, her posture straight, her mind focused. She didn't wear the loudness of ambition. Hers was the quiet kind, the kind that didn't need to shout to be strong. To most, she was invisible, just another employee in the endless machinery of corporate success. But behind those calm, steady eyes, something deeper was at work, a quiet storm waiting for its moment to rise. The calm rhythm of the office shattered as the elevator doors slammed open. Charles Denmore stormed through like a brewing storm in an expensive suit, his footsteps hard against the marble floor. Conversations died mid-sentence. Fingers froze over keyboards. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. He reached Grace's desk with fury in his eyes and a crumpled document in his hand. With a sharp motion, he slammed it down, the sound cutting through the silence like thunder. "You made a mistake that cost us millions," his voice boomed across the open office, bouncing off the glass walls, dragging every pair of eyes toward them. Grace blinked, her pulse steady despite the heat of humiliation burning under her skin. "Sir, if you'll just let me," she began softly, but he cut her off with a hand raised high. "You're fired. Right here." Right now, gasps fluttered through the room. No one dared to move. Grace's face remained calm, her dignity unshaken. Slowly, she gathered her things, a notebook, a pen, a photograph tucked inside a folder. She stood, smoothed her blazer, and lifted her chin. No tears, no words, just silence, the kind that spoke louder than any protest. And as she walked away, every whisper that followed carried one thought: she didn't deserve this. The city outside glimmered in the fading afternoon light, but Grace Williams walked through it untouched, her steps calm, her eyes unreadable. While her co-workers whispered behind closed doors, wondering how she could endure such humiliation, Grace had already turned the page. No one knew the truth about her late nights. They thought she stayed behind to finish reports or meet impossible deadlines. But when the office emptied and the lights dimmed, Grace remained, sitting alone in the glass-walled conference room, her voice low over secret phone calls. Her reflection in the window looked like that of a woman haunted by loss. But it wasn't grief that fueled her. It was precision, purpose. A flashback flickered. Grace in a sleek black dress, signing a stack of confidential papers under soft golden light. The pen trembled only once, when she saw her name printed beside the title, Primary Stakeholder. In her purse rested a small silver keycard embossed with the words, Acquisition Meeting, Confidential. And deep in her inbox, unseen by anyone at Denmore Industries, an email glowed quietly. Subject, Final Approval Granted. From Board of Directors. Grace closed her phone, exhaled slowly, and whispered to herself, "It's time." Charles Denmore was still fuming when the first phone rang. He ignored it, then another, and another. The sharp tone of urgency cut through the glass walls of his office until his assistant burst in, pale and trembling, clutching a tablet. "Sir, the board just approved the acquisition," she stammered. Charles frowned, his irritation twisting into disbelief. "What acquisition?" She swallowed hard, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your company, sir." It's been bought out. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. The screens on the wall flickered, a new corporate logo appearing where his name once shone. His hand reached for the phone, trembling now. He scrolled through the document his assistant showed him, eyes darting to the name at the top. Grace A. Williams Holdings. The words hit like a blow to the chest. The colour drained from his face, the arrogance melting away into something small, fear. Meanwhile, outside the tower, Grace stood beneath the late sunlight, the city's golden rays catching her calm expression. In her hand, she held a leather folder embossed with silver letters. Chairwoman, Williams Capital Group. The wind brushed against her blazer as she looked up at the building, not with revenge, but quiet triumph. The storm had finally changed direction. The sound of her heels echoed through the marble lobby, the same lobby she had walked out of only hours earlier, her dignity her only possession. Now every step carried a different weight. The employees who once averted their eyes turned to stare, frozen between disbelief and awe. The whispers rippled through the air like wind across still water. Grace Williams was back. The glass doors of the executive floor opened automatically, revealing Charles Denmore pacing behind his desk, red-faced, his phone pressed tightly to his ear. When he looked up and saw her standing there, his words faltered. For a long, heavy moment, silence filled the room. "Mr. Denmore?" Grace began softly, her tone calm but unyielding. "It seems there's been a change in leadership." His lips parted, disbelief trembling in his voice. You can't be serious." Grace stepped closer, her eyes steady. "Oh, I am. And unlike you, I won't fire people to prove a point." The room fell completely still. Power no longer shouted. It breathed quietly through her poise, her grace, her control. Charles sank into his chair, his empire crumbling around him. And Grace, calm, composed, radiant, stood tall. She didn't need revenge. Her victory was silence wrapped in elegance. The sun was beginning to set over Manhattan, washing the glass towers in shades of amber and rose. Inside Denmore Industries, now Williams Capital Group, the atmosphere had changed. The same employees who once whispered about Grace now watched her with quiet respect. The woman they thought powerless had rewritten the story without raising her voice. Grace stood by the window of the CEO's former office, the city sprawling beneath her like a living, breathing testament to resilience. She could still hear the echoes of that day, his voice, the humiliation, the sting of being dismissed in front of everyone. But now, those memories no longer burned. They fueled her. She hadn't come back for revenge. She came back to rebuild, to lead differently, to prove that strength isn't loud and that grace, when paired with purpose, can move mountains. As she looked down at the people leaving for the day, she smiled softly. The office lights glowed one by one, reflecting against the glass like stars scattered in a quiet sky. That day, everyone learned that dignity speaks louder than anger. Grace never sought revenge. She built her own power. And as she whispered to herself, the truth hung in the air like a vow. Power isn't taken. It's earned, in silence, with grace,